If you do any events that are 400 meters or more, this video will show you how you can change the type of kick that you're doing to save energy and to pick up the pace when you need to. Hi, Brenton here from Effortless Swimming. We work with a lot of different swimmers, from national champions all the way down to almost beginner swimmers. And what we've seen at that higher end or higher level of swimmer is that they've got the ability to change the type of kick that they're doing, a 2-beat, 4-beat, 6-beat kick, depending on what pace that they're going. Now, this is one of the more difficult things to develop in your stroke. And for us, it's part of core principle number 5, which is finding your rhythm and timing. And that is the last core principle. So if you're still having troubles with body position or catch and pull, then I recommend switch off this video now and don't worry about it, just focus on those other things. But if you feel you're at that level where you're ready to maybe develop a different type of kick or give yourself the ability to change the type of kick that you do, this video will be helpful. So here we're going to look at Katie Ledecky in her 800 freestyle. And what she does is she starts out with a 2-beat kick in the beginning, then she moves to a 4-beat kick, and she also alternates between a 2 and a 4-beat kick within the middle of the race. And at the very end, she picks up her kick to be a 6-beat kick at the end. So this is Katie Ledecky's 2-beat kick in an 800 at the Rio Olympics. You'll actually see here, it's quite interesting the way that she kicks. You've got the right leg hardly moving at all. It almost acts as like a stabilizer. So the right foot kicks a little bit, but it's more the left one that's doing the work. So the right one there, it moves up and down a bit, but it's all about that left leg. So you can see here she gets this downwards kick on the left side. So we have the left hand catch and then the left down kick. And then instead of really kicking down much with her right foot, you actually get the left foot doing a bit more of a forceful sort of up kick there. And she goes back to it. So that right leg pretty much stays stable as she's going through it. It moves up and down a bit, but not much at all. So that's her 2-beat kick. And you know, if you've ever sort of heard any interviews or know much about Katie Ledecky, she has a lot of drive through the hips, and she's talked about that before, where she's really working on that drive from the hips, and that's part of that serape effect that we had in a couple weeks ago in one of the videos. That's what it's really all about, is getting that drive through the hips and through the core. So that's why she can have this really nice rhythm and momentum with her 2-beat kick. Now she starts off with that because that is really the most efficient way to swim, and for her, most efficient way to maintain that pace. Then as she goes through the race, she starts to pick it up. And I want to show this clip right here. This is where she goes from a 4-beat kick to a 2-beat kick back into a 4-beat kick. If you see it there, she's got this 4-beat kick, then she goes to a 2, then back to a 4. So we'll show it here. You've got the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the 4-beat kick. And then we get this 1, foot pauses there, and that's the 2-beat kick, and then 2, 3, 4, and then she gets back into the 4. So she actually just changes it, does a little 2-beat kick there in the middle of a lap, and you see that throughout some of her the middle section of her 800 free. So I think part of the reason why she does it is she's just kind of feeling out for the most efficient kick to maintain the speed that she wants to sustain there. So you know, there's nothing wrong with changing within a lap or within the course of a couple of strokes. It's kind of just what you'll see among that very top end, and with Katie, you see it here. So that's the 4-beat kick. Now, if you haven't seen our 2, 4, 6-beat kick video, I'll link to it above. You can check it out there. But what a 4-beat kick is, and I find it's a very efficient way to swim middle to long distance, it's where you will have, okay, you've got one kick on one stroke. So let's say your left arm, you're going to have a downwards kick on your left leg. Then you're going to have 3 kicks on the next stroke. So on your right arm stroke, you'll have 2, 3, and then 4 there. So that's what a 4-beat kick is. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the way you'll be able to do it is to basically pause for a second when you are reaching and extending out. And you see how Katie does it here. You actually kind of get that pause when she's reaching out with her right arm. So she breathes to the right hand side, and so she'll sort of take that breath, come back, and then she'll get it sort of extra long, extra reach there, be a little bit longer on this side, and that's where you get that pause, and that's where the legs and the hips lift up, and then she gets back into it there. So it's similar to some of the other videos that we've shown. And in the video membership that we've just released, we've got a section in core principle number 5 on developing your kick and how you can go from a 2, 4, 6 beat kick within the space of 50 meters if you like to. Now at the end of Katie's 800 here, she actually picks it up to a 6 beat kick at the end. So she's still got this 4 beat kick. This is for the last 100 meters. And then once she gets to about 20 meters out from the wall, she picks it up to a 6 beat kick. So you'll see it right here. 25 meters out, now she's doing that 6 beat kick, and then she starts to pick the stroke rate up, straightens the arm, head down, and finishes off there. So that's how she goes about changing her stroke. Now it isn't easy to develop, so what we normally recommend is just doing some dedicated laps practicing this. So for example, you might do 850s, where the first 2 you'll just practice a 2 beat kick, so it's 1 kick per arm stroke. The next 250s you'll do a 4 beat kick, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure to have that pause in there. And then a 6 beat kick, which is just basically a more continuous kick there. And then, so for the next 250s, or the final 250s, that's where we'd get you to try and alternate. Start with 2, then go to 4, and then to 6. You're probably not going to get it right away, but with enough practice and enough focus on it, you can develop this as part of your stroke. And it is a really handy tool to have in your toolkit to pull out when you need it. So especially if you're in a 50 meter or a 50 yard pull, it's a lot easier to do there than in a 25, because sometimes it's just not enough time to sort of give yourself that space to practice. But if you're on a 50 meter or a 50 yard pull, I find it's a lot easier to do. Plus it is quite a bit easier to do at 7 to 9 out of 10 effort. If you're doing it at 2 out of 10, like really slow, it can be hard to really get a feel for it. So just sort of swim it like an aerobic or a sort of critical swim speed sort of pace, and that I find can be a much easier way to develop this sort of thing. Now I just want to show you one more angle. This is Katie's 1500 that she did at the FINA World Champs in 2017. That's where you can see that right leg staying very still as she goes through it. So it kind of acts as that balance. And what you'll notice with the right leg too is that nice up kick. So from the glutes all the way through to the hammies, it's kind of engaged a bit to keep the leg up high. And so you see the heel is really up at the surface there, and we've got this nice upwards position of the legs. And that's something that we've talked about in a few videos, where with your kick, you got to make sure you're doing the up kick. You got to start it from the glutes, go up through the hammies, so that the leg and the thigh actually comes above the line of the hip. Because if you're really tight through your hip flexors or tight through your lower back, then it can be very difficult to do. So mobility obviously plays a part of it, but I find looking at some of these elite guys, while you may not be able to emulate everything they can do, there's things that you can certainly try and do and try and learn, especially some of these more important ones, like the way that you kick, like the hip drive and the rotation, and a couple of other things. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, leave a comment below. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on the 2, 4, 6 beat and what you currently use. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure you share it with someone that you think would benefit, and like and subscribe. We'll be back next week with another video, and yeah, we'll see you then.